Okay, welcome back to another weekly recap. So, this week, the first portion of the week was recovery from the 10K last Sunday. If you haven't watched my recap of the 10K race, it's now up. So, click back through and have a look at that. I break down my whole race from start to finish. So, good little recap of that. So, starting the week out this week, was pretty curious to see how I pulled up, and come Monday, it was evident that I was actually pretty sore, quite domsy, and just a bit beat up. So moving around at work was a bit rubbish, though I had planned for that and made sure I gave myself enough days of easy stuff to do to ensure I was completely over that fatigue by later in the week. So the main goals for this week was to recover well from the 10K last Sunday, and then be back doing a session Friday morning and a good long run today, Sunday morning. So let's click through the week and have a look at it all. I'll try keep this one pretty quick and short. There's just a lot of recovery style stuff in there, which is extremely important, though it's not too exciting to kind of go through. So I'll just click my way through it again, like always, and we'll touch base on everything. So Monday morning was a sleep in. I didn't do anything at all. Yeah, it took the morning to sleep in and just try to get a good sleep after that run on Sunday. So it wasn't until Monday afternoon where I started to try to move about a bit and get some mobility going again. So moving around at work was pretty rubbish on Monday. I was pretty sore by the middle of the day, and it seemed to have just got worse through the afternoon portion. So come Monday afternoon, even just getting down and doing some stretching and foam rolling was pretty rubbish and pretty sore, but I still made sure I did that just to at least to start to get the blood moving and blood flow back through the body into those areas. So that was Monday afternoon, just 20 minutes of that. 6 weeks out, little note, and then rest. Tuesday morning, it was time to get the legs moving properly again. So back on the trainer for a short trainer recovery. Been through this one a few times now. So if you're unsure about what this session is and why I'm doing it, go back and have a look at some previous weeks, and it will be the exact same session in there. That was Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon rest. Wednesday morning, so I did planned out an easy 2-hour bike ride, though it ended up jumping in with the Wednesday bunch. And turns out they ride quite hard. I was still pretty sore and just pretty fatigued still from the 10K on Sunday, and I thought going along to this ride I could just sit in the back and just spin the legs out, and it would actually be good, kind of get dragged along but spin the legs out. But it was a quick ride. They were really putting in some watts. I actually got a flat early on, so I had a few guys waited, and so we played catch up a little bit. Nothing really to click through here. I didn't record any laps as far as I'm aware. Nah, no laps to click through, though it was a pretty hot ride. Hot as in the sense of pace. So I planned out 2 hours, completed 1 hour 26, though average speed 35.2, normalized power 236, average heart rate 135. So that's probably the heaviest ride I've done in a very long time. So for my 2 hours planned recovery ride that I had in there, TSS planned was 72. I ended up hitting 112 for 35 minutes less work. So it was a pretty heavy ride, and it actually left me feeling a bit cooked. And overall, I don't think it was the smartest decision to do it, though I still managed to make it work, and it was just about being cautious later in the week still. So still carrying that fatigue from the 10K on Sunday. This ride would have been good if I stuck to my plan, though jumping in with the bunch was kind of probably not the best option, though it was still good to ride with people and ride in a fast bunch. So that was Wednesday morning, nice and fresh out. Wednesday afternoon, ride home from work. And then 30 minutes or 6Ks on the treadmill. So just easy moving to get the run legs moving again. First run since Sunday. So 2 full days off running after an event. And I guess Wednesday afternoon, it actually makes it 3 full days. If you go from Sunday morning to Wednesday afternoon, it's more than 3 full days. So it's proper, just letting those muscles settle. And it's good because over a couple of days, you get to see if any niggles have come through. And it's not until you run that you really get to see how you're feeling. As your body settles, I do feel like things change and where your sore hurts. It's in different spots and stuff. So it's not until you start running that you really get to feel kind of where you're tight and where you're sore. So that was Wednesday afternoon, 31 minutes, 6Ks, 5:13 average heart rate 131. Now I wore a new shoe for this session, the Hoka Mach 5, brand new, got them delivered on Wednesday. So jumped on the treadmill on those to start seeing how they feel, and I enjoyed it a lot. Thursday morning, essentially the same session which I had planned the previous morning, though this time I did it as planned. 2 hours completed, 1 hour 56, average heart rate 107, normalized power 180. So I did this one exactly how it was planned out, just easy cruising, rolling with Jakey. So it was good to have a bit of company again on a ride. Nice and fresh out, nice and cold out again. But this one was just proper cruising and like really needed that just easy spinning of the legs. So yeah, 1 hour 56 completed. Thursday morning, 53.7K. So you can see just a lot of recovery stuff this week. It's not until kind of Friday where we start getting into a bit more work. Thursday afternoon, ride home from work, and then Thursday afternoon again, 30 minutes on the treadmill, but with a heat session. So again, got the AC cranking away at its hottest temp, and actually got the room temperature up to about 33 this time. So let it heat up a bit more beforehand, and then it could just continue to rise again through the session. So I still think that the longer the session goes, the better. So I think next week I'm going to trial doing 50 minutes on the treadmill. As well as that, last week I had the fan going because I didn't really know how I would be feeling with that heat. This week, after about 15 minutes, I just completely turned the fan off, and I think that that's what made the main difference to the heat in the room. It just started to really crank up. So I hit 33 degrees in that room, which was awesome. And yeah, I was actually sweating quite a bit. So I normally don't really sweat too heavy, but this time, yeah, I was quite wet, quite sweaty. So completed 31 minutes, 6Ks, 5:16 average heart rate 138. So again, just tried to incorporate that heat session once a week to get that adaptation happening. With it being so cold out and about through the mornings at the moment, you kind of just miss out on that completely. Like this morning was freezing, it was single digits again, so you could just completely miss any of that kind of heat adaptation. Great for running miles, but just missed that little bit. So it was Thursday afternoon, out of the hot room, off the treadmill, and then straight into the freezer for 5 minutes. Shocked that system into recovery. Friday morning, so finally starting to feel somewhat okay. So I'd either planned just to do 60 minutes easy jogging, or I wanted to do a session. So moving through the next few weeks, Friday's going to be my kind of threshold, more upbeat, faster session where I want to run stuff quicker than marathon pace, just to make sure I'm still using that system and stretching those muscles out a bit more, so I'm not getting locked in too much into just easy or marathon. Kind of want to make sure I'm still exploring my full range of speeds and zones. but not spending too much time with stuff above marathon, but still making sure to stretch those muscles out. So for this session, I plan to do 4 times 1 mile, ranging from 347 down to 336. So I wanted to hit anywhere in between those for the session. So let's click our way through. Lap 1, 15-minute warm-up, average heart rate 124, average pace 516. So from work over the bridge, just get the blood moving. It was pretty quick to realize that whilst I felt somewhat okay, once I started running this session, I'm still pretty tight and a bit sore from last weekend. Like I just can't seem to pull up well from hard running, and it does take me quite a while. So warming up for this one, it took a while to get moving, and then through the first rep, it was tough. Like it was difficult to get the pace down. 15, 14, average heart rate 124, average pace 516s. Into my first mile rep, came in at 610 or 350 per K, average heart rate 148. So flat course from the train bridge out to the race course. It was like this first rep was hard. Like it was difficult to get the legs moving and get going, but it's kind of to be expected, and in a way it's kind of what I want, because like I want to carry that fatigue into some of these sessions to really get the most out of it. Just have to be careful, because that's where you're going to break down with injury and stuff if you're not careful. So I was running in the Hoka Mach 5 again, and I actually enjoyed those shoes for doing a faster session. So I'm going to wear those a bit more on these kind of faster sessions. So first mile rep 610, 400 meters float easy recovery 451s, get that heart rate back down, and just take it easy for a couple of minutes. So 400 meters 451 average, 1 minute 56. Second mile rep 601, 345 average heart rate 160. So second one was much better. It was felt much better, got up to pace a lot quicker, and it didn't feel too taxing through the back end of the session, through the back end of the rep. So really happy with that one. And from here, like after my first rep, my goal was to try to negative split each one. So just make each one a little bit quicker. So instead of trying to aim for anything too crazy, it's kind of just readjusting on the fly, realizing that your body is not quite up to the session that you really wanted to do. So it's readjusting on the fly and just making like a bit of an agreement with yourself. All right, that first one was a bit slower than what I wanted, so let's make sure our next 3 progressively get quicker. So rep 2, 601, 345 average heart rate 160, 400 meters float. This was a little bit of had a stop, had some fluids, had a little walk, then started jogging again. So 400 meters, 208, 521 average. Into rep 3, 1 mile, 553. So average pace 340, average heart rate 161. So actually by now, I'm starting to feel somewhat decent again. So nailed that split right on. Really happy with that one. And this session wasn't too mentally challenging. I guess in a way it's just getting through those first couple of reps where you do feel shitty, because I know my body pretty well, and knowing that if I can get through those first couple of reps, I tend to always warm up, and I just surprise myself with what I'm able to do, considering kind of how rubbish I felt at the start. So rep 3, 340 average heart rate 161, 400 meter float at 451s, 156. Get that heart rate back down, and then send it on the last rep. Last rep 547, average heart rate 166, average pace 336s. So managed to get right down to kind of the lower end of my goal for those reps. So yeah, quite happy with very happy with how that workout ended up playing out. Negative split all those mile reps and finished really strong. Feeling a bit beat up though, and just the rest of the day was feeling a little bit lethargic and just a little bit beat up. So it's a fine line between thinking like, am I ready for a session or should I have left it another day or whatever? But I pushed through on this one. And I think still in some way I'm paying for like that race the other week, that race last weekend, just kind of still carrying a little bit of that muscle fatigue, and kind of got that a bit more of that deep-seated fatigue that takes more than one rest day to shake at the moment. But I'm going to keep trying to work my way through it. Easy 400, 542s, and then 15-minute cool down at 512 average. So that was 4 by 1 mile. Ended up with an hour and 2 minutes, 13.8k. Average pace 432s. Average heart rate 142. Hoka Mach 5. Good shoe for some up-tempo and faster stuff. So moving on to Friday afternoon. Again, same as Monday. Just stretching, rolling, and just trying to hit some of those more sore spots. So in my hips, I tend to get quite beat up and a bit sore. So laying on a hard ball and just trying to release that stuff. Still never as good as a massage. So booked in again for massage this coming Wednesday, because you just can't do it yourself. You need that kind of treatment from someone else to really rip in and get those things sorted. And like, I do believe that the massage I had last week, it just made me feel so good and so free. Like, I don't think I've ever felt as loose and moved as well as what I did last weekend. And I do credit a lot of that to that massage. So every 2 weeks from now, up until Gold Coast, finish in with one massage on race week, will be absolutely necessary to keep me moving well and firing as good as I can. Saturday morning park run. So I wanted to do this park run at marathon pace or thereabouts. 1 hour warm up and then 5Ks at marathon pace. It didn't really play out that way. So again, starting the run felt pretty rubbish. So made that decision as soon as I started, literally probably 200 meters in, that I was just going to jog through this for mileage, and made sure I ticked off some good Ks. So just trying to build some mileage into the legs. There was absolutely no need for me to rip in and do a hard park run. I just would have left myself completely flogged for the long run today. And that's kind of the mindset. Kind of 3 checkpoints throughout the week moving forward from here is like a key session Tuesday, session Friday, and a long run on Sunday. And it's about making sure that what I do in between those is aiding in recovery to ensure I can start those three key sessions in good health and not niggly, not sore, not tired. So it's about making decisions on the fly. So park run yesterday, I initially planned to do a quicker one, but ended up flagging it completely and just jogged out 90 minutes. So good medium kind of long run on a Saturday morning. So duration 1 hour 30, distance 17.7, average 509 per kilometer, average heart rate 123. Good to get a decent bit of miles in the legs on a Saturday morning. So with the kind of the recovery at the start of the week, it did kind of back end this week a little bit more to make up for kind of the lost volume. But having said that, it wasn't over the top, and it wasn't just trying to cram as much as I could in to get good numbers for the week. Still very mindful of overall load and fatigue, and I think I nailed it. Saturday afternoon, I jumped on the trainer, same trainer recovery session, 43 minutes complete, normalized power 186, average heart rate 124. Moving to Sunday morning, this morning, long run with the boys, 3 hours and 2 minutes complete, 36.8 at 4:58 average. Heart rate 127. So 4 or 5 of us set off nice and early, 5 a.m. Super fresh out, super dark. Great running weather, really. Put in a couple of big laps around town and got it done. So we'll click into this one and just have a bit of a look at the map and a bit of what's going on. No laps to record, just one lap. I guess the main thing that I experienced with running with the group is there's a bit of differentiating paces that end up happening. So I've always kind of done a lot of my stuff by myself, or just with one other person. With one other person, it's kind of easy just to lock in a pace and you kind of go. With 4 or 5 people, you get chatting and you get yapping away, and you can kind of actually lose track of your paces and what you're running, and you end up kind of moving a little bit quicker than what you initially kind of set out to do. And I felt that a lot, and I don't know if that kind of beat me up a little bit more or what, but like, I mean, we weren't moving super quick, but I think, there was 4:14s here for a little bit to catch back up after I stopped to grab some water. But like all through here, kind of well under 5 minutes per K. Like I was hoping to average between 5 and 5:10s, because that's kind of where I like my long runs to be. Just a bit of a sweet spot. Just kind of get moving pretty well. And ended up averaging 4:58. I mean, it wasn't overkill and it wasn't that bad, though. That's just the dynamic of running with a bit of a group, I think. Tried to get some hills in there towards the end as well to build a bit of strength, but very happy with that one. Feeling pretty tired and pretty sore at the moment. Kind of a good deep sore though, and hopefully should pull up pretty well. No niggles to report. So planned 36Ks, completed 36.8, 4:58 average heart rate 127. So some good miles for the legs. Need a good few more of those leading up to Gold Coast, and then I think we'll be on the right track. So that's the week so far. This afternoon, I am going to jump on the trainer again just to spin the legs out after that long run and make sure that I'm not just letting them sit for the afternoon. Like, this is an easy session, which doesn't really add any load, just kind of activate some muscles, and it does help stretch everything out. So you'll kind of see a bit of a trend there over the next couple of weeks, where I'm going to be throwing these sessions in after kind of key runs in the afternoon. Just jump on there, listen to some music or watch something, listen to a podcast. 43 minutes, it's easy to tick through. Otherwise, I'm kind of just sitting up here on my phone anyways, looking at reels. So that's the week done. Let's click out of that. Overall, run distance 80.3K. Total duration 12:49 completed, still with 43 minutes to do this afternoon. So add that on. We're looking about 13 and a half hours for the week. So not monster weeks for this marathon prep. Overall, like 13 hours is a lot of training, is a lot of aerobic fitness. It's nothing compared to an Ironman prep, though I'm really knuckling in and focusing on that recovery stuff after these runs. I'm not too stressed about trying to build my engine up anymore. I feel like I've got enough aerobic base now at this point where I don't need to be going out and doing 4 or 5 hour rides to try and build that. I carry a lot of that already. Just trying to nail in on that marathon pace and kind of that run strength. So some big sessions coming up through the next couple of weeks with some good long runs to really pound those legs and build that back end strength up. So that's that for the week. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you next week for the next recap.